Hello from Windsor. We're up at dawn for the 20th birthday of the grand old triathlon on the British calendar. Over the next 5.5 hours, this royal town will be dedicated to a feast of swimming, cycling and running at the Nokia Windsor Triathlon. Our new Prime Minister was educated just on the other side of the River Thames at Eton College. And trust me, anybody turning up here today unprepared, they're in for a harsh lesson. For starters, a 1,500-metre swim. The flow and the current in the Thames is unpredictable. The 40k bike ride is flat. It's one for the time trialists. While the 10k run is one for the fittest. It's 3 laps and heads out through the streets before a nasty climb to the castle. And if our triathletes have the time, or more like the energy, to take in the scenery, what sights they've got coming up. Next door to Windsor are the plain fields of Eton, where many a sporting battle has been waged over the centuries. And guess who might be watching today? The Royal Standard is flying. That means the Queen's in town. This race is a triathlon academy. With its swim in the Thames, its thrilling rides around the roads of Berkshire, and its gruelling run on Her Majesty's streets, this unique event is always a sellout. 27 ways. A total of 2,500 triathletes. From the very best to beginners will all take on the Thames. This is one of the most technically demanding swims in all of the sport. Richard Stannard knows it better than anyone. He's been racing here for 15 years, and guess what they call him? The Fish. So everybody, listen up.
And what you want to do is head over to that far back, literally that boat there, if not this bush here.
While David Cameron might be an ex-pupil the other side of the water in Eton, without a doubt, this side of the water, the top boy, top of the class has got to be Richard Stannard. Richard, speciality out of the three, is properly swimming, isn't it? You know, the swim is somewhere where you can get a really good gap on them. This is quite a tricky course, though, is it not, with the currents and so forth? Absolutely.
One of the most technical swims you can do in the British Isles, definitely, if not around the world, because of the River Thames. It meanders. You've got a current in there. You're working against that on the way up. You've got to learn how to swim up the river, and then when it's with you, you've got to use it to your advantage. So it is very technical, and of course, with my ability in the swim, I've got to maximise that gap.
So you've just got to basically work to your strengths, and you've done this before. A veteran of this event, you're going to win, yeah? I've got my money on you.
I'm going to try, yeah, absolutely.
Another man to watch out for is Mark Jenkins. He raced for Team GB at the Athens Olympics. He's overcome so many injury problems, and he was 5th here last year. He's a true fighter.
Really looking forward to it. It's a beautiful event, it's a beautiful venue. They've kept this event going for years now, whereas others have fallen by the wayside over 10-15 years since I started out. Windsor's the only one still going, and I still haven't won it, so yeah.
But the beauty of this event is that it's open to all. For hundreds, it's more about finishing than fast times, but that doesn't stop the nerves though, and it doesn't stop many wondering why they're taking the plunge. If inspiration is needed, then look no further than Daphne Belt. She's the oldest here at 71. Her husband Steve is racing too. He's 60, a mere youngster. But the real baby here is Sky Draper. She's only 14, and what a talent. She's got a huge future ahead of her. She's one of our best young triathletes, aiming to make it for the 2016 Olympics. So Daphne, you've been doing this competition for about 20 years now. What are the nerves like now, just before you're going to get in the water?
I'm always a little bit nervous, but once I start, I'm okay. But when I first get up, I try and have a little bit of breakfast, but it's a losing battle. A couple of spoonfuls and stop.
But at least you know what's in store. A lot of these people today are doing it for the first time. What advice would you give them?
Well, just go out and enjoy yourself. It is the best event we have, and it's really fun. So just go and enjoy it.
Without embarrassing you here, you've done 19 Ironman triathlons. That's right, yeah?
I think so. Roughly that. Yeah. You know, it takes me a long time, but I do get through it.
Back at the start, Sky is getting ready, and she's taken some last-minute tips from her dad. Mind you, she's been racing since she was 8 years old, so she already knows a lot about the sport.
It's nice for me to race here because This is the first year I saw my dad compete here at his first race, and it was my inspiration for starting triathlons.
And what are you looking forward to? Is your dad giving you any tips then? Obviously you've not done the course before.
I've ridden around the course a few times. Really nice course, not too hilly, so looking forward to the bike, and run course looks pretty nice as well, so yeah.
And what about the swim?
Yeah, it looks like a good course. Obviously with the current, I have to think about my tactics for there, but yeah, it should be good.
Are you looking at getting a good time or position? What are you looking for?
Yeah, looking to hopefully finish top woman in the senior sprint race and hopefully come somewhere high up between the men.
So Sky is full of confidence and full of beans. To be honest, she's got every right to be. She's going to take some catching today. But who's going to beat Daphne for sheer bravery? She's out of the water and on her way to transition. Sky started later, but she's making up time fast. But then again, she has got a 57-year advantage on her side. No stopping Daphne though. How many grand do you know, honestly, who can ride a bike like this? Whatever she's on, get me some.
I don't want anybody to think I'm Wonder Woman and I do this pain-free. It is getting harder. It is getting harder, but you know, I just try and all the time I can do it, I will do it.
Young Sky is flying too. She's causing quite a stir in this sport. She's already been picked up by the World Coaching Programme, and watching a race, you can see why. Everyone here has their own challenge, and of course I did say Sky was the youngest athlete, but what about this young man, Ewan Laws? He's only 2, he was born with cerebral palsy, so with special permission from the organisers, Dad Ben has brought him along for the ride in his very own racing machine. It must be heavy.
Yeah, it's about 50, 52-ish kilos with him in it, and wind resistance-wise, it's not brilliant, and hills aren't terrific, but yeah, it's good fun.
He must be your inspiration to train hard and to push it.
Yeah, bizarrely, I do feel I can go a bit quicker with him. I can hear him kind of talking to me, and he says, "Dad, Dad," and that makes me go faster. And yeah, I'm quite proud. He's a great little boy. I'll fall asleep in a minute.
One great thing about this event is the support on the streets. Lots of people out there to cheer the racers on. Sky's dad is doing his best to keep up with his girl. She looks well set for a fast time. True to form, Sky Draper finishes 5 minutes quicker than anybody else in her category. She's second quickest overall. That's even amongst the senior men. That's some performance, and that's why she's one to watch. Also home are Team Laws. Dad Ben looks a bit puffed out, but young Ewan, he's fresh as a daisy. I think he could go again. Ben and Ewan, fantastic. How's it feel?
Good, really, really good. I'm really tired, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Personal best, good time?
First Olympic distance I've ever done. First open water swim I've ever done. So
it's a personal best then? Delighted?
Yeah, brilliant.
Going to come back next year?
Definitely, yeah. Everyone's been fantastic. I'll be back.
There's a round of applause for Daphne too. She gets second in her age group. Mind you, only 2 took part. Only 2 were brave enough to have a go. Well, the Duke of Wellington said the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields in Eton. The Battle of Windsor begins every year in the waters right beside them. It's time for elite races now, so let battle commence with our race commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Thanks, Ewan. Feet up, ready to go for the elite women, and alongside myself, Annie Emerson, former European medalist. This is a really key swim, one of the trickiest on the tour, and it's all because of the currents in the River Thames. You have to get the right line if you're going to produce a good swim time.
Yes, you most definitely do, because you are not going to gain any time by swimming up the middle of the river on the way up, because the current is quite strong in this river, as you said.
Well, just as you say that, Annie, it looks as though Heather Jackson, who is without doubt one of the top swimmers in this field, she has gone straight up the middle of the river. She's looking for the shortest distance, and you can see the likes of Jackie Slack over on the far side. They're heading to the side. They're looking for a little bit of an eddy current where the current is slower and maybe in their favour, but she's going the hard way.
She most certainly is. Word this morning was that the current wasn't as strong as it has been in previous years.
Well, now Jackson starts to break to her right. I think she's realised the error of her way, slipping into that pack, and no surprises with the leaders. Slack is in there. Vanessa Raw's had a good start as well.
And I can see on her feet there Emma Davies, who's the young Irish Olympian. We know she's very strong on the swim, so we expected to see her up there with these two girls.
That's Jackie Slack with the pink goggles. Vanessa Raw having to break her stroke. She wants to get over to the right-hand side and swim with Emma Davis, which is just the right move. And Raw certainly is one of the ones to watch in this field. She's on very good form.
So Vanessa, you're number 1 ranked. You're favourite to win this. That's what I've been told. Does that put pressure on you?
Yes, I suppose so. Yeah. I just want to enjoy it. I haven't really got any expectations.
You've had a few injuries over the years with your running. You're coming back. You're back to full fitness.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty consistent this year. Yeah, it's just another race to get more experience under my belt, 'cause I haven't done many races in my years of doing triathlons.
Who do you see as your main rivals?
Well, Jackie Slack's here and Emma Davies here, so they're both going well.
Raw, Slack, Davis and Heather Jackson has got on to the heels of those leading swimmers, so that will make an interesting group on the bike if they can extend their lead before the end of the swim. Vanessa Raw, of course, an excellent artist. She's been studying in Loughborough.
Loved art since I can remember. This is my latest project, Olympic athletes or potential Olympic athletes for 2012. We've got David Davies, Caitlin McClatchy, who's a potential 2012, Will Clark, triathlete, who's a major inspiration of mine too.
So come on, Vanessa, the question we all want to know. Are you going to be there at the Olympics?
I hope I will be competing, and that's the aim. I'm sticking with triathlon until 2012 with the aim of qualifying, but also I'll be painting up to 2012 too. I kind of have to get into this routine of painting in my training kit and then running off to do my training session and then get quick shower back into more training kit, painting again. So I have to be quite organised in what I do.
So up towards the top end of the course, it's much easier once they've gone round this buoy. Interesting to see Emma Davis has gone right over to the right-hand side. She's taken the old route, Annie.
Yeah, it seems to me that she's completely missed the buoy, which is really dangerous because she really doesn't want to lose the feet of these two top girls in front.
So Raw, Slack and Jackson now, the leading three.
I think being a river swim, it's always going to be difficult, but most people now know the route to take, and it's the same for everyone. I think the swim is key, really. You've got to be in that pack. If you're not in that pack, then the day's over, and so hopefully the swim will be the decider. Obviously Vanessa's the favourite. She's meant to win, ranked to win, but I'll hopefully get in the way of that, see what I can do.
So down towards the bottom of the swim, drafting not quite as effective on the downstream section as it is upstream, and a chance maybe for the better swimmers to get away. Who's he having?
There seems to be one of the coaches there shouting instructions to one of his athletes. I don't know if she's hearing much.
Well, it's Vanessa Raw who's got away clear. Heather Jackson at the back of that three with the...
And I'm just looking for Emma Davis. I can't see where she's got to. Looks like she lost quite a lot of time on the top buoy.
Well, that's a real shame for Emma Davis because she made a good tactical move early on to get herself into the lead and then threw away all that good work with a mistake at the top of the course. But it may not all be over because the leading three are way left of where they should be. They've gone outside the buoy instead of inside it this time, and they've added another 20 seconds or so. Vanessa Raw leading. Well, she suddenly realised her mistake. Heather Jackson has followed suit, and so has Jackie Slack. So three of the leaders have thrown away a potential lead. There's Emma Davis on the inside. She's baffled by what's going on. And bear in mind that these athletes have had a full day to learn the course and know exactly where to go. What is going on in their heads?
I've got no idea. It's very surprising that they don't know where the swim exit is. I can only guess that nerves have really got the better of them today.
Well, it's Emma Davis in the end who comes out of the water first. Can she take advantage of that? We're going to have a much bigger cycling group than we might have had 2 minutes ago. Slack is there, Jackson is out safely, and that opens up an opportunity for some of those who lost ground in the swim. Rosendale, Chittenden, 2 youngsters. Rosendale, a very good runner. Jackson, you can see, losing 4 seconds. Her transition time is now going to be key to make sure she comes out with the leaders.
Yeah, they are all relatively close, and I do expect that these 6 girls will all go out onto the bike together and form a good pack.
Is there anyone here who is strong enough to ride away from the rest? Remember, it's an Olympic distance race, 40 kilometres to be covered. It would be a bold move to go alone.
It most certainly would. I think it's quite difficult on this course, Patrick, because it is flat. There are no hills to really break away, and I can only see this group staying together at the moment.
Slack into the transition, wearing the black and red. Nearest the camera is Davis of Ireland. She'll be delighted to be with this leading group. I think she thought she'd thrown it away. Who is going to be first away? Jackie Slack is quick, as usual. Vanessa Raw really taking her time just to get the helmet on. No panic. Maybe she's confident that she can get on the first group, but she's made life a little bit difficult for herself. Chittenden is there, tall figure. Now the mounting of the bike.
It's always quite interesting, the mounting, isn't it? Some girls will do it a lot better than others.
Now, Raw at the back of the group. That is not how to do it. 4-5 seconds. Wolf behind her follows suit, and she loses a few valuable seconds as well. Now, that could be key because we've got 4 at the front. Vanessa Raw just on the back of them, and Wolf is some 40-50 metres behind. If this leading group work well together, Wolf may not see them again. It's Slack who sets the pace in the early stages on this 40k bike ride. Vanessa Raw's done well, Annie, to get on to that leading group of 5.
Yeah, I think she was quite relaxed. I think she knows that she's strong, she knows that she's fit, and she just felt she really didn't have to panic, which I guess is a good thing.
Well, she's looking smooth enough, doing a little bit of work in that group of 5, trying to close down on Jackie Slack, who's been asked to do all the work up front at the moment. They'll settle down into a routine. We saw 1 or 2 problems in Blenheim with the leading pack not working together. Vicky Holland taking a nasty tumble. I think they might have learnt their lesson from that. Now let's have a look at this cycle course. We start, of course, in Windsor. We head away to the west along the river. Very, very flat section under the M4 before they start to break to the left and up towards Wingfield Lane, and then the crucial part of the course, down Drift Road to the 180-degree turn. Crucial because you get to see exactly where the opposition are.
Yeah, that is a really crucial point on the course, exactly as you said. The guys that are coming from behind can see how far they are from the front pack.
Well, the front pack have started to work well together. Here they are. Jackie Slack now at the back. She's one who knows exactly what to expect in this situation.
I think you have to go flat out. If you can get a good group, you can work together pretty well. A group of about 4 or 5 of you would be quite good, and each of you share the work and take the rest at the back when it's your turn off. Vanessa Raw is definitely going to be up there. Emma Davies probably. Hopefully myself. Maybe Lois Rosendale. And there's Heather Jackson as well, all pretty good swimmers. So I think if we can all get together on the bar, then it'll be a fast bike time. But I think we're all pretty similar, so I think it's going to be a really good race.
Steady pace at the moment, no real danger from behind, but Vanessa Raw doesn't want to give those chasers any opportunity. She ups the pace. Is she trying to break away, or is she just trying to get the group working a little harder?
I tell you what she's trying to do. She's trying to get the girls to work so that they have tired legs going onto the run, because she knows that she's probably one of the fittest in this group.
Well, she was certainly shown a huge amount of respect by the other racers prior to the event starting. Now she's going to test them all mentally.
The women's race got off to a glorious start. Coming up, it's the men's, with Richard Stannard going for his 3rd win, but there's plenty of others around just as hungry for the first. See you after the break. Welcome back to the Nokia Windsor Triathlon. The women's race couldn't be closer. Just 4 seconds separated the top 6 women as they came out of the water. Vanessa Raw, Jackie Slack and Heather Jackson should all be out in front, but they missed the swim exit and ended up downstream. They've made up for it now though, and they're making the pace. This is turning into a real battle. The men are getting ready for their start. Richard Stannard has got to be the favourite for the swim. He's so quick in the water. It's been 9 years since he was British Triathlon champion, but he's still very much the man to catch in the swim. They don't call him the fish for nothing. There's a few young fresh faces out there too, trying to make their mark and give him a good race. And a few older faces, such as Mark Jenkins. he'll be quick as anyone in the water, and after all his injury problems, he's getting back to his best. But along with the others, Stannard's a man to catch. Who do you realistically see as challenging you this weekend?
Well, I think we've got a sort of 50-50 split in the field. We've got the old-timers or the experienced athletes like myself, Mark Jenkins, Richard Allen, always a threat, those two, and you can never, ever write them off. And then we've got a sort of split with the young upcoming athletes. Tom Bishop, he was third last week in Blenheim. And as a consequence, he's on fire. He's going to be really up for this race. So there's a lot of competition out there. I've just got to use the fact that I've raced this for nigh on 15 years now. I know the course well. I've got to use that to my ability and try and maximise that advantage.
Time to check out the rivals. Started with Mark Jenkins. He was 8th at Blenheim. Not bad, but not good enough for our Mark.
The last bad result, that really affected me, and I was very frustrated with myself after Blenheim. Yeah, hopefully I'll pick myself up, and being so frustrated with myself is good because it means I still want to do it. I was so annoyed and so angry after the race. I thought, well, that's a good sign. If you're just complacent and just accept it, it's probably means you shouldn't be doing it anymore, but the fire is still there, so that was good. Just hopefully have a solid day, and yeah, the run is coming on week by week, so hopefully that's been progressing well, so hopefully I'll have a good run and stay in contention on the swim and the bike.
Richard Stannard is setting a fair old pace in the swim. He's really pushing it. He knows he's got to though. There are some young hopefuls snapping at his heels, or should I say fins. These boys at the top here, they're there to be shot at.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Like at Blenheim last weekend, I had a really good race, and I beat some of the top-ranked guys here, so we'll see if I can repeat again.
What are you looking forward to the most? I mean, I've heard, rumour is you're a very, very strong runner, and that's where you're going to catch him.
Well, hopefully I'll get off the bike with him anyway, and just see, yeah, if it comes down to a running race, I'll try my best and see how it goes. But it's twice the distance I've ever done before, so an extra 5K is going to be tough.
Well, the men's swim coming to its closing stages, and what a phenomenal effort from Michael Adams. Once again, he is first out of the water, and that is no mean feat when you've got the likes of Richard Stannard, the fish, in the pack. I think the fish has lost his fins today because that was a brilliant swim by Adams.
It was absolutely outstanding. What was amazing was seeing how relaxed he was as well. He just looked so relaxed.
Stannard second out, and he'll certainly be confident that he'll be in the front group of cyclists on phase 2 of this Windsor Triathlon. We've also got Gavin Noble there. Jenkins, one of the favourites, is in there as well. Threlfall going well, but it's Adams who is first into T1. He's played his trump card. His cycling's okay. He's not so quick at the running. It'll be interesting to see what he does now.
Yeah, and this is a big group of guys coming out here, Patrick. I don't think we've seen a group as big as this.
Richard Allen coming through, a former winner of this event, in fact, back in 2002. 8 years later, he's going brilliantly. Well, that would be a turn up for the books if he could get himself onto the podium today. Harrison, carefully down the steps. Certainly don't want your race to come to an end there. There's Steve Worthington, very, very good runner indeed. Doesn't always put the 3 disciplines together perfectly, but it'll be interesting to see how he goes today. Adams is going to find himself on his own, but I think you can guarantee that he'll be swallowed up by the group once they get going. What does he do now? Does he just take it easy until the group join him, or does he go hell for leather to take advantage of that 20 seconds?
I think he's got to give it a go. He's got to go hard. He knows he doesn't have the greatest run, so why not give it a go? But I've got a feeling these guys won't be too long before they're on his wheel.
And Jenkins leading the charge of the chasers. There he is with that blue and red suit. Stannard in the blue, tall figure, coming back from injury after last year. He's had mixed experiences so far this season, but his swimming is as good as it ever was. What he can do on the bike and the run remains to be seen. Gavin Noble for Ireland in the green, right up there. Jenkins has had a good start, 29 down off the lead, but he's only 5 seconds down on Stannard. James Locke, good run from him. Hawksworth is there as well. So a great group of athletes all setting out to chase Mark Adams, who is the first out of the water. There goes Noble, and Noble telling Jenkins to hit it. He wants the pace to pick up. Hawksworth, surprised to see him up with the leaders?
No, I don't think it's a huge surprise. We know he's got a very decent swim. Interesting to see that Stannard's just slightly off the back there. We know he's had a few injury problems, so this was never going to be an easy race for him.
Mark Jenkins looking very determined as some of the later runners come through. This is James Cotton, just trying to find his pedal, and now he's gone and lost his shoe. That's a disaster. 15-20 seconds at least thrown away, but it's more embarrassing than anything else.
Such a shame when that happens, because his race is really kind of over now.
There's Dan Hawksworth, 5th in Blenheim. That was a good run from him, but no Don, no Hayes, no De Villiers here, who all beat him on that day. Here's Adams, who came out of the water first, and within a kilometre, he has lost that 25-second lead. All that effort gone to waste.
Yeah, it appears so, but to be honest with you, I don't know how much effort he put into the swim. I think he's just such a naturally strong swimmer that it was actually quite easy for him.
Now he's trying to settle in that lead group. We'll see how long he can hang on in there. And there is Richard Stannard. I think that face is saying, I'm already working quite hard.
I think it's the famous Stannard grimace, that one. He probably is working hard. We know he's had a few injury problems, but yeah, he's just trying to pull away from the guys coming from behind. He knows there's a lot of good runners in that second pack.
Here's the chase pack. And this is a young man, Tom Bishop, who's expected to do something today. What a fantastic run in Blenheim where he finished 3rd. Threlfall is there, Locke is there. A group of 3. Now, they don't have the physical advantage, the group not big enough to catch the leaders if the leaders work well together, but they do have visual contact, and that is so important psychologically.
Yes, psychologically it's really important. It makes it a lot easier for them because they can see the guys just ahead and they know it's not going to be long before they catch that group.
Well, there is no doubt that this gap is closing. The leading group is likely to grow.
In the women's race, Amy Wolf never managed to catch the leading pack. Emma Davis and Vanessa Raw made sure everybody did their turn at the front to extend their lead and minimise any threat from the rest of the field. Let's rejoin the race with your commentators, Patrick Winterton and Annie Emerson.
Approaching the second transition. It's an awkward approach into the transition. Care needed to negotiate the turns. Slack is through, and right at the back you saw Vanessa Raw. Again, Emma Davis has shown that her discipline in the transition area is quite superb.
She has an amazing transition. It's so fast, but we know the transition is just really important to get that advantage, to be out of the transition onto the run first.
Now watch Davis as she goes through. She's been taking some tips from Richard Stannard.
She certainly has. They're throwing the bike there on the rack, which is allowed. The bike's on the rack, so that's okay.
Helmet has to be left at the station as well, and away she goes. My goodness, that was 5 or 6 seconds, and she's out and running well already. That puts a little bit of pressure on the likes of Chittenden and Raw. So the Irish lady is away. Chittenden on her heels, and then just behind her is Rossendale, tall figure in black. She could have a good run, but she's got to get straight into her stride as they work their way up past the castle. That's the hardest bit of the course. And then they head out towards Eton College, along Eton High Street. Beautiful section of the run, but very, very flat indeed. 3 times round that loop, and it's the hill that comes early on that could be the telling section of the course.
Yeah, most definitely. Emma's taken this run out very hard, but Rossendale isn't having too many problems as she takes a lead and gets in front of Davis.
So Rossendale heading towards the top of the climb, looking very good. Remember, she's got to do the climb twice more, so I hope she saves something for that section of the course. Now she gets the chance to see where the opposition are. She knows about Davis. She will see Vanessa Raw coming up on the other side of the barrier, and that is the danger woman as far as Rossendale is concerned. On the toes for Vanessa, and she is closing down on the leaders.
Welcome back to the Nokia Windsor Triathlon. Just look at this battle for the lead in the women's race. It's Lois Rossendale in the lead, but closing fast, catching with every stride, is Vanessa Raw from Loughborough. In the men's race, it's close too. Tom Bishop, Mark Threlfall and James Locke have been making a charge. They've been working really well together. Too well for the leaders who can't hold them off. Still a way to go though, and there's still time for the likes of Gavin Noble to have his say.
It's one of those races where there's a lot of guys who'll fancy the chances. I don't think there's anyone who sticks out. Obviously Richard Stannard's here and he's won the race before, and Athens Olympian Mark Jenkins. Obviously, if I look at him on the bike and I see that look in his eye, and I know he'll want to attack, and I'm prepared to work on the bike, I'm prepared not to work and play the game. Yeah, it's one of those things. Elite racing is tactically, you have to be very aware, and that's what makes it exciting.
Oh, come on, it's not hard! Come on. Come on, keep riding.
Mark Jenkins has been struggling to keep the leading pack working as a team, but now tactics really are coming into play. Who dare make the break? Who dare sit at the back? Well, Stephen Worthington from the Wakefield Club is playing it cool. He's happy to be on the tail. He was 55 seconds off the pace in the swim, but now he's making up for it.
Last year I crashed out towards the end of the bike. The year before I was away, I was in Korea, and then the year before that I was third. So it was when I was third, that was a big breakthrough result for me. So it's a great course. I really enjoy it here. The support's always brilliant, especially on the run. So just think about that. Think about getting to the run first, and then see how we go.
It looks as though there are going to be a few changes at the front of the men's course, with the large chasing pack now chasing that leading group of 8, and they've closed the gap down to some 20 metres. They are working so much better than the leaders, and that's not because of the effort that Jenkins has put in there.
No, Jenkins is renowned for really trying to rally and get the whole group working together, but as we can see, they just haven't worked well enough together, and these guys are right on their wheel now.
Well, that's interesting, because there are one or two very good runners in that big pack that you can see closing at 10 metres every 100. They are flying at the moment, and once they hit that leading pack, they might just take a breather. What's the likely tactic here?
Oh, I think they'll get on the wheel and probably sit back and have a bit of a breather, catch their breath, and then probably go again.
Well, the chase pack have made contact, and the whole face of this race has changed. That's a brilliant effort, because they were 50 seconds down on the leading group of 6 at the start of this bike ride, and now they're just going through with consummate ease. Brilliant riding. And now we see what Richard Allen, of course, who we mentioned, a former winner, he's one of the men who's done much of the work.
He will have worked very hard, and we know that Richard Allen has an amazingly strong bike. Taking that turn a little bit wide, that didn't look like a great turn there from Richard, but he hasn't lost too much time.
Well, he's lost a bit of ground, and Rhys Davies has flown round the corner and decided that there's an opportunity to break away. He's a long way from home, he's only a youngster. What's the thinking here? Is it tactical, or is he just feeling so good he's going to have a go?
Well, it's definitely a little bit tactical. He's taking the opportunity to break away while the guys are all making their way around that very tight corner, and what he hopes is that the group is going to get a bit separated here.
Well, Rhys Davies fans at Tewkesbury Tri Club will enjoy this little break. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but it might get him away from the other juniors in the race. Now, Ashley Herdman, and that looks like Ben Newman who have gone down. Herdman on the near side, and so the lead group is -2. And Herdman's got a few problems. His race effectively over. What a shame after all that good work to catch up with the leaders. But it just shows the importance of being in a good position when you come to a tight turn like we have here on Drift Road. Davey still looking over the shoulder anxiously just to see what the effects are, and he's going to find out soon enough. Through goes Gavin Noble. Makes it look as though Davies standing still. Tom Bishop still there with the leading group. He's now the leading junior in this race. And Hawksworth doing his fair share of the work out front. Good, strong-looking build.
Lovely to see Tom Bishop there in second place. I think this is a junior athlete that has a great deal of potential, and we're going to be seeing a lot of him in the future.
In the women's race, the leading group down at 2, Rossendale versus Raw. Raw closing the gap down in the first 3-4 kilometres, and now she has to decide on her tactics. Rossendale's been impressive so far, but Raw renowned as the better runner. The question is, when will she decide to go for it? Will she use the hill as they work their way up past the castle for the next time?
Yeah, I think she'll play it by ear for a little bit. She knows that Rossendale is quite inexperienced at this distance. It's only her second ever Olympic distance race, but as we can see, I think Raw's just wanting to stamp her authority a little bit there.
Was that Raw asking how many laps to go?
I hope not. I hope she knows how many laps she's got.
Well, it's the athlete's responsibility to know the course and to know exactly where they've got to go. Emma Davis starting to struggle a little. The tempo's still quite good, but she's not flowing like she was at the start of the run, and I can't see her catching the two leaders.
No, I think not. She's looking a little bit tense in the shoulders.
Well, look at that effort from Vanessa Raw. Absolutely fantastic. She has chosen the toughest part of the course to make the break, and that's what the textbooks tell you to do. And she's opened up a gap of some 5-6 metres. It's not decisive at the moment, but if she can keep the pressure on, Rossendale might suffer. But all credit to Rossendale, she's hung on in there. The men approaching T2, and they're not slowing down. Now they need to be a little bit careful because we've got a big group of riders approaching the transition at some 40 kilometres an hour. Off come the shoes, on go the brakes. They brake to the left into the transition area, and it's Gavin Noble who's the first across the line.
Yeah, you really want to make sure you're in the front of the pack when you come to this entrance here, because as you said, it's very, very tight. You can lose quite a bit of time.
Gibson Cotton, who had the problem with his shoe earlier on, he's done phenomenally well to get up with the leaders after that little mistake. We thought his race was over at that stage. Jenkins is safely in the leading group as well. And here they come. Richard Allen it is, who leads into the transition area, who, remember, won this race back in 2002. Can he wind the clock back 8 years? I think it's unlikely, but we'll see. Ireland hoping for success with Gavin Noble. Stannard and Jenkins still in transition. There goes Threlfall and James Locke right on his heels. Those two get away very cleanly indeed. Threlfall, the 22-year-old from Loughborough University, leading the way out of T2. James Locke, he's a very good swimmer. There goes Steve Worthington. Now Worthington has lost a lot of ground in the transition, and he's given himself some 50-60 metres to make up on the leaders. Now pick me a favourite out of this lot, Annie.
Well, I think obviously Mark Jenkins, but I think Steve Worthington might be a little bit of a dark horse. We know that he trained with Alistair Brownlee prior to Alistair's Olympic Games in Beijing, so we know he's got great running pedigree.
And what about Tom Bishop? We saw him produce a phenomenal run in Blenheim at the last of the series. Can he do it again? Well, the toughest part of the course comes first as they work their way up towards Windsor Castle, 3 times round the loop. And it's Threlfall who leads the way up the hill for the first time.
Yeah, looking really nice and relaxed there, but he's got a fair few good runners hot on his heels.
Richard Allen, wearing number 4, looking a little bit heavy already. Jenkins next to him, just winding himself up, you feel. Jenkins, nice to see. He's one man who's come back from serious injury. Noble still in that leading group.
Yeah, two times Commonwealth Games athlete. He's also got very good pedigree, so I would expect to see him well up there by the end of this run.
Down the hill past the Theatre Royal. Only the slower athletes will get a chance to take in the sights. Everyone else, their eyes firmly on the road ahead. Jenkins looking very focused. Just behind him, there's Tom Bishop. Now, Bishop, not experienced at this level. He's never run an Olympic distance race before, and so it remains to be seen how he copes with that.
Been told by my coaches to take it easy for the first couple of K in the run, just to settle into it, because it's a long way, and then yeah, if I'm feeling strong within the last 2.5, 3K, I push it on if I can.
What time would you be happy with for your debut?
I don't know, I looked at some of the results last year, the times, they're around like 150, 155, so I'd say, I've always said when I was really young to my parents, my first Olympic I want to go under 2 hours, so I suppose that's an aim for me really.
Bishop and Jenkins side by side at the front. We've still got James Locke in 3rd place, and will they be worried about the presence of James Locke, or will they be thinking further back?
I think they'll be thinking about some of the runners from behind. We know James runs very well, but we haven't actually seen him finish on the podium yet. And here comes Stephen Worthington, who looks like he's running incredibly well. I don't know about you, Patrick, but looking very relaxed, I think.
Worthington wearing the blue vest with the white rims, and certainly relaxed in the shoulders compared to some of the others. Jenkins looking a little bit tense, but the focus on Jenkins's face is so impressive, and that alone could get him to the finish in first place. So the leading 4 round the turn. That's an awkward bit of the course that breaks your rhythm. Bishop opens up a 2-metre gap over Jenkins. James Lock safely round the corner, and Worthington bit by bit is closing the gap. He looks so light on his feet. Hardly believe that he's done a 40-kilometre bike ride. Now up alongside the leaders.
This will be a real test for Mark and Tom, I think, seeing Stephen coming up on their shoulders, feeling him there with them, just wondering, you know, has he got the pace to go forward and drop them?
Well, all athletes have been in this position where you get overtaken. Psychologically, what do you have to do?
You've got to stick with it. You've got to relax and not panic. That's the main thing.
You notice a slight injection of pace from Bishop and Jenkins, just to say to Worthington, we are not going to hand this one to you too easily. But Worthington, to me, certainly looks the most fluent runner. He's about 6 inches taller, so he's eating the ground up with each stride.
Yeah, very relaxed look on his face, whereas the other two, little frowns starting to come up on their foreheads.
Yeah, maybe just a slight look of doubt in Tom Bishop's face now as he realises that this is going to hurt, just like it did in Blenheim last time round. A little shake out of the shoulders from Worthington. Is that an indication that there's a big effort coming up? Round the corner, cuts Bishop off. That, well, I don't think the jury will be too concerned, but he's gained a couple of metres as a result, and now he starts to inject even more pace as they come to the little rise over the river. Well, that is a decisive move if ever I've seen one.
And just crossing over Eaton Bridge there, this is obviously the reason why Alistair Brownlee chooses to train with Worthington. He's really showing his running pedigree here.
Well, he hasn't raced here in Windsor for 2 years, and it looks as though it's going to be a very rosy return. Here's the leading woman. Vanessa Raw has proved too good for the rest of the field. Rosendell hasn't been able to hold on. Raw has just lengthened her lead. Not quite as fluent on the feet, but she's still on the toes as she was at the start of the run. She is a great, great talent from Loughborough, and it's going to be fascinating to see what she can do in the future. She takes the title in Windsor for 2010. And all the tension suddenly drains out of her body. Rosendale, a junior, and a really talented junior at that. She has a brilliant future as well. Second place to her.
Great result from Rosendale. I think she'll be ecstatic with this result. She wouldn't have expected it this morning, that's for sure.
Rosendale will be delighted to be just a few seconds behind Vanessa Raw.
I'm relieved, yeah. Yeah, I didn't feel too great this last 2 months, so yeah, I'm pretty pleased. It was a great race. The girls we all worked really well together on the bike, but I went the wrong way on the swim, which wasn't great, and bad transitions, which coach would kill me for.
Well, a brilliant performance by Vanessa Raw to take the win. Slack on the podium as well, but what about Rosendale? Just 38 seconds off the win.
It's like only maybe second draft in Olympic distance race. So I didn't know what to expect, and I sort of felt like I was going a bit backwards on the run, but I just had to like dig in, and yeah, really, really happy.
With 260 points on the table, it's Jackie Slack who leads the Super Series at the moment with just 2 races to go. Over Eaton Bridge for the final time for Stephen Worthington, and he's held on to the lead that he earned himself on the very first lap of the course. What a sensational run.
Absolutely sensational. As you can see, we can't see Jenkins and Bishop for about, well, we can't see them yet, so he's got to have about 100 metres on them nearly, and that's a massive margin, that's a massive lead.
Well, here are the two who've been chasing. Jenkins just in front of Tom Bishop, and Bishop, well, his coach has said take the first couple of kilometres steady. I don't think he had a choice really, because the pace was so tough set by Jenkins and Worthington.
Yeah, I think he had to go with it, he really did, and he did look very comfortable, but obviously he hasn't run this distance, he's not used to running this distance, and the last half of the race I think is going to be pretty tough for him.
So how long before Bishop can learn to cope with a 10,000 metre distance at the end of the Olympic triathlon format? He is certainly struggling now.
Struggling, but he's still staying with Jenkins. And I think he's doing a great job. I think his coach is going to be happy with him today.
Well, I think Jenkins's coach will be happy as well, because his long comeback continues, and he's winding it up now. Maybe he's given up on first place, but he's going for second, and he's starting to pull clear of Bishop. Worthington a long way ahead. Still a silky smooth action that will have won him many admirers in the running world. To do that after a 1,500 metre swim and a 40-kilometre bike ride, quite fantastic. Today, he's put all three disciplines together. He was a little lucky that that leading group of cyclists couldn't work together, but he's taken full advantage of that fact.
Absolutely, and that's triathlon for you. You know, why not? He's got to take advantage of it. And as we can see, he most certainly has done.
50 metres to go for Worthington. All the pain disappears at this stage. He can think about the prize money and, I guess, the recovery phase. Brilliant run. It was a bold move to make the break on the first lap. Jenkins on his own now in second place. He's left Tom Bishop behind, and Bishop, in fact, getting slower and slower as the race goes on. He's still got another 500 metres or so to go. Jenkins storming into the finish area, second place. I'm sure he'll be delighted with that performance, and maybe just a little bit surprised at how quick Stephen Worthington was running. Gavin Noble of Ireland gets third place today. The Irish doing well with Emma Davis. A fine performance in the women's race. Jenkins in second, 30 seconds down on Stephen Worthington.
Chuffed to bits, chuffed to bits, yeah. I got lucky today on the bike, it came together, and I knew that if I was clever, then I should back myself on the run, and that's what happened today.
Yeah, your run was really strong, yeah?
Yeah, first lap I felt really good. I caught the two guys in front, and then I kind of thought I was feeling too good, so I thought I'd best make the most of it on that first lap, and then it was kind of a case of hanging on after that, so it was good, really happy.
A little bit better today, so I'm happy with my performance and the result. The swim was good for me. I came out with Richard, and then I was second out on the road, so I was happy with that after last weekend. To give myself a stern talking to. I had a bit of a tantrum when I finished last week, which, as an athlete isn't great, but I felt really strong on the bike. Unfortunately, I don't think everybody else felt as strong, so we didn't stay away. We got caught, and it was down to a big pack run then. And I know Steve's been running well, actually, but he struggles to put all three together. So when he was with us, I thought, yeah, Steve might run today, and he took off from me and Tom, and he was running. But I was happy to hold him at 20 seconds, and I thought I might get him back at one point, but yeah, just a little bit not as fit as I'd like, or a little bit out of race practice, but happy for Steve to win.
Jenkins gracious in defeat. What a victory by Stephen Worthington. And Ireland's number one, Gavin Noble, finishing in third place, just 46 seconds down.
Personally, I struggled a little bit early on in the run, and I didn't actually know Steve. Steve was in our pack. There's a reason why he trains with Alistair Brownlee, and why Alistair Brownlee has him around in Leeds. Alistair, obviously the best in the world right now, and he's one of those athletes where if everything goes well, he'll do very well, because he's a very good runner. And when I saw him come past me in the run and I was struggling, I sort of knew that was it.
So the points in the Super Series with Strathclyde, Blenheim and Windsor complete. Jenkins it is who leads on 196, ahead of today's winner Stephen Worthington. And Worthington on top of the podium alongside Vanessa Raw, the winner of the women's event. Champagne all round for the podium finishers after a fantastic day of racing. Windsor living up to its reputation for staging one of the country's best triathlons, and they've done it again.
Well, that's it from the 20th year here at Windsor, and great news, we've got 2 new names in the record books. Here's to another 20 years. See you soon.